Hey, Sierra. Hey, Shoshana. Hey, Sierra, I see you. I'm going to invite you on in just a second, okay? Hey, guys. Welcome, welcome. Hey. It's time to have conversation, be open, be honest. Let's go talk on education, talk on how to be modest. Let's talk on politics, yeah, it's shower on the mic. No matter what you need, I'ma get it fixed. I'm here to spread truth. I'm here to spread light. I'ma talk about it all night until we get it right. Motivation and inspiration, a rotation. If we work together, we could all touch nations. Let's build an empire. We all kings and queens. I want to help you dream. It's always been my dream. Let's grow together. How about let's learn together? It's hot topics all day like burning leather.
Yeah, on Ask Shara.
Welcome, everybody.
Just ask Shara. Any topic, it don't matter. Just ask Shara. Ask Shara. On Thursdays, Facebook Live. On Thursdays, hashtag Ask Shara Thursdays.
What's up, y'all?
Hashtag Ask Shara
Hey.
Thursdays.
Hashtag Ask the Shara
Thursdays, Facebook Live.
on Thursdays.
Hashtag Ask Shara Thursdays. Hashtag
What's up?
Ask
What's
Shara
up?
Thursdays. Hashtag Ask Shara Thursdays.
It's Facebook Live on Thursdays. Hey, y'all. What's up? How you doing? Greetings, everyone. Good night to all. My name is Tashara, and this is my platform. Welcome to Ask Tashara Thursdays, Season 4, Episode 2, where we're talking about the power of Black creatives. Today's episode is sponsored by God's Healing Hands. Hey, Mahira. And before we get on our guests for tonight to engage in our conversation, I did want to give a little bit of facts about our sponsor. And so, big shout out to our sponsor, God's Healing Hands Massage Services. So, God's Healing Hands is located in Jacksonville, Florida. Right now, they're doing in-home sessions, but be on the lookout. They're looking to move into a new location very, very soon. Some of the services that they offer is Swedish massages, deep tissue, sports, pregnancy. They work with teens as well as youth sports. God's Healing Hands has been an established business since April of 2016. So it's almost 3 years old, y'all. And of course, it's a Black-owned business. And so this season, we really wanted to support Black-owned businesses. And so shout out to all of our sponsors thus far. And so just like everyone else, God's Healing Hands is a Black-owned business. So how do you support this Black-owned business? You can book a massage. You can purchase a package. You can share a post. You can leave a review. Yes, all of those are ways to support a business. And you can also, and I thought this was really cool and creative, you can host a massage party. Yeah. And so how do you stay in touch with God's Healing Hands? So they're on Facebook. You can find them, and I'll put throughout later on in the show, I'll post it in the comments. So you can contact them via email at healinghandsbytisha@gmail.com. Also, you can go to their Facebook like page at God's Healing Hands Massage Services. And so if you guys will hit those hearts and those like buttons for our sponsor for this episode, we really appreciate you, and we wish blessings onto your business. And so again, guys, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I ask that you share the broadcast if you're rocking with what we're saying throughout the hour that we're going to be with you, as well as hit those like buttons, hit those heart buttons, so that we know that you hear us and we know that you feel us. I love interaction, and so as we're having our dialogue, and I'm going to bring Sierra on in just a second, write comments, share your thoughts, share questions. This platform is really to provide content to everyone and to edify everyone, because if we work together, we could all touch nations. All right. And so, guys, thank you so much. I see you. Hey, I see those hearts, and I'm going to invite Sierra Hillsman on, our lovely nights. Hey, Sierra, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm not bad. Welcome. So excited to have you. Yes.
Good. I'm so excited to be here. Oh gosh, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. I have my headphones in. Let me know if I need to take them out or change anything.
Guys, can you guys hear us? I hear you perfectly. Let's see those hearts and likes if you can hear us. All right, they can hear us. Nice.
Awesome,
Well,
awesome.
Perfect. So before we kind of get into the nitty gritty, I do want to do your bio because I just
Okay.
I think we talked last week or maybe this week, and you're like, I don't like bigging myself up. I said I'm gonna do it for you.
Okay.
So on tonight we have Miss Sierra Hillsman, who is a licensed associate professional counselor in the state of Georgia and is credentialed as a national certified counselor. Her platform, Legacy Speaks, focuses on increasing awareness of mental health issues, creating conversations with marginalized communities, and increasing access to local and national resources by advocating for both equality and equity. This powerhouse clinician is passionate about challenging the world one person at a time as she continues to champion mental wellness hashtag for the culture. And so you guys give a virtual round of applause through your likes and your hearts for Sierra Hillsman. Yes. So I was messing with you earlier, y'all. This is her first Facebook Live, so we're taking her Facebook Live virginity, you know. And, so it's high standards that we have, you know, for your first time.
I'm like, oh my goodness. I just realized it today. A friend was like, you know, you never go live. And I was like, well, yeah. Okay.
Nice.
That's all good, though.
So I'm honored that, you know, it's our platform that is exposing you to this awesome space of lives, and hopefully you're able to do more of them now that you're on your first one. So thanks you again for coming on.
Thank you so much for just inviting me. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Black women queens are amazing, period. Yeah. Well, everybody amazing. I don't need nobody in my DM saying, oh. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna stop messing with y'all. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead, and what I like to do with every show is do an icebreaker, kind of like in therapy where we do it, like, you know, you engage with your client, because a lot of us are strangers to each other, and you're not going to be telling me all your business. You're not going to be comfortable when you don't really know me. So just group dynamics. So the icebreaker for tonight, and it's always directly related to the topic. And so I just have one simple question, Sierra. I'm going to ask you to just say it out loud. And all of our viewers, I'm just going to ask that you write it, comment it in the comment section. So icebreaker for tonight is just one question. So we're talking about the power of Black creatives, right? Mm-hmm. So if you could have any creative ability, I mean anything, what would it be?
Whew, girl. Any creative ability. I wish I could do like acrobatics. I don't know why. I just want to be like super limber and be able to like flip around and like duck and dodge. Like, you know, those people who do like free falling, or like they're running and they're jumping all over stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's like amazing to me. So if I could do that, that would be hella dope.
Okay. I was just about to ask why. That is pretty cool. So let me ask you this question, because I feel like a lot of times we like, oh, I want to do this, but like in reality, we'd be afraid of like heights or something like that. So like, do you like heights? Are you that type of person?
So I don't mind flying in planes and stuff like that. I don't know about jumping out of a plane, so that would probably be an issue. But you know, like in the, you know, like in the movies where they're like bouncing off of walls and like running and chasing and stuff like that requires you to be extremely physically fit. So I think the overall goal is to be like agile and physically fit and whatnot. And you know, everybody's all obsessed with this supposed apocalypse that's coming. Yeah. So I was like, dang, you know, if the apocalypse came, I wouldn't be able to like lift myself up or run from a zombie. So I'm like, you know, if I had that skill, you know, I would be able to survive. You feel me?
That's nice. I see there's levels to this. I got you. Yeah. Nice. And hey, everybody, as you come in, you can always answer our icebreaker question, which is posted. If you could have any creative ability, what would it be? So let's get in the conversation. So the power of Black creatives derived from the influx of Black and brown people creating their own spaces, developing their own lanes, owning their own platforms, and serving their own people. To me, representation matters. It really does. I'm sure it does something to the psyche of our people to see others who look like us in the spaces we aspire to be.
Yeah.
It helps foster trust. It helps promote vulnerability, and it helps us believe that if they can do it, so can we, right? So I was first introduced to Sierra through her platform, Legacy Speaks, on a video about infertility, which is something I'm very passionate about. And so tonight I asked her to collaborate so that we can talk about just the realities of being a creative, not just any type of creative, but also as a clinician and what that looks like. So let's get started. First question for you, Sierra, is you utilize YouTube. And that platform is where you share your content with the world. Can you talk about how important it is for you to create your own space, as well as what motivated you to do so?
The reason why I use YouTube specifically is because I remember growing up in college, like YouTube was the thing, or it was just something that a lot of influencers started using. I felt like Facebook catered to one specific generation, and then you have like Instagram and Snapchat and so on and so forth. But YouTube gave me the platform to be able to produce content for an extenuated period of time. So I could do things for more than 60 seconds or more than a minute. I could literally put like that discussion on there, and it'll be there through the queue or through your search engine or whatever. Now, obviously, with upgrades with Instagram, you have like IGTV and so on and so forth. But when I first started, I didn't have that opportunity, and I knew this discussion was so important. It needed to go beyond just a minute, or I needed to go just beyond those different slides that only Instagram provided. Facebook was still trying to navigate with their own little TV platform. But for me, I just really wanted to create just a mental health version of Oprah, or Oprah Soul Sessions, Soul Sessions Sundays, and just literally focus specifically on mental wellness, just not mental health or mental illness, but overall mental wellness for the community.
That's good. I like that so regarding, I think a lot of times as creatives, we see other people doing things and we just try to jump on the bandwagon. But, you spoke to like the intentionality of it. Like you could have easily done, we see all these people that's Instagram famous from their 60-second videos and all of these things. Like you could have went that route, but for content, you recognize, no, I need more than that. And I need something that will be sustained. And not everybody has Instagram. Not everybody has a Facebook account, but anybody can go on YouTube with or without an account. So I like that.
Yeah. Very true. And I always refer to YouTube as like YouTube University, because literally you can learn anything from hair, from working on your car, from helping you study for your next exam. And one lady, there was like a therapist. I think she was like a licensed licensed marriage and family therapist. And she wasn't of color. And I was just like, man, like she's really dope. She's really amazing. She's able to speak to her specific niche. But why do I not see any other, like, a clinician of color, whether you're a licensed social worker or LPC or APC or LMFT? I just did not see any clinicians of color on our platform. And so, I mean, there's podcasts out there. There's therapy for Black girls as the podcast and whatnot. And obviously, like, there's Therapy is Dope through the Melanin Clinicians Collective and so on and so forth. But it's something about like being able to see, like you said, that whole representation, and being able to see it, you're able to connect to it a lot, I think a lot more better.
Yeah. And that's what I love about like our generation of clinicians, because now it's becoming a thing. So, you have Legacy Speaks, you have Ask Tashara Thursdays, you have Dr. Joy with Therapy for Black Girls, you have Melanin Mental Health. Like there's so many different things, different podcasts. My former supervisor, him and his wife, Dr. Mercier, they just started a podcast. So people are doing it, of color, but it wasn't like that. I'm sure when you first started, it wasn't as popular as it is now. And so how did you gain the confidence to continue going, not seeing as much representation, or seeing people that didn't look like you, maybe had the same background and training, but not the same life experiences or the same struggles? How did you maintain that confidence to move forward?
I guess because I knew the mission at hand. Like ultimately, I wanted to be able to provide information that was not only applicable but like relatable, and not even just like even in layman's terms, they're trying to like dumb stuff down for the audience, but it's one thing to be a what do you call it, an academic, and you're in school and you're reading all these textbooks and you're learning all of these terms, but to the average person, they may not know what gestalt is, they may not know what reflecting is, they may not know what CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy is. But if I'm able to take those larger concepts and break them down so that day-to-day people are able to apply it to their own life, that is just what makes this so fun for me. And that's something that I greatly appreciate. And that's why I continue to do what I do. Because oftentimes a lot of people are seeking the help, but they just don't know where to start, or they may not be able to afford it. So let me help you learn these coping skills that you can use on a day-to-day basis. Let me help you learn how to be able to manage your stress on your job without having to go pay out of pocket or go broke just to go get therapy. Not saying that what I do replaces the actual therapy,
right,
but it helps give you a type of foundation to help you within that moment. What I currently do now is a lot of crisis stabilization and a lot of brief therapy within the moment. And so I do this on a day-to-day basis in my job. And so taking what I do at work and being able to provide that free information to a platform of such an amazing group of people that I meet on a daily basis. And I really do appreciate and honor each and every person who watches my videos, because your attention really is, it is important to me.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's what I try to do. Just cater to the people, cater to the audience. That's why I'm always sending out surveys, or I'm always reaching out or asking or leaving questions in the comments below, like, how can I help you with my next video? What topics do you need to know to help you manage? Because I feel like that's what therapy really is. It's about the overall functionality of your life. How can you deal with the day-to-day without having a mental breakdown, or without being super depressed and not being able to get up out of bed, or without cursing out your boss at work. Okay. How can I help you in this moment? So I guess that's the mission, and that's why I keep moving forward.
I love that. And I really, you said a mouthful of amazing things. And one of the things that last part that I want to capitalize on is that, just speaking of the stigma of mental health or therapy, you're right. Like, most of it is not crisis, not for the actual therapy, because you have to be at a level of stabilization to be able to learn the skills and utilize the skills. So yeah, it is like, how do I just go through my day to day? Because life is going to happen on life's terms. Yeah. How do I learn to maneuver through those things, and then just be able to talk to someone that is non-judgmental and can understand, and I'm good, not necessarily like, I'm in active psychosis all the time, or I'm actively suicidal. At that point, it's crisis management. We're trying to get you to a level of calm.
Yeah. How can I stabilize you in that moment? And like you said, life is going to happen on life's terms, and we can't avoid it. Like, even as clinicians, we get stressed out. We as therapists need therapists too.
Yes.
And it's
One
real.
More time.
We as therapists need therapists too, and we need that social support. Yes. And so for anybody who is looking into seeking therapy or anything like that, recognize that the person that you're going to help you through this therapeutic process, they're human as well. Yes. And like, we recognize that you're human too. And so if we're able to come together within this experience and recognize just the basic human life experience, I think things will get a lot easier and a lot better.
Yeah, we're all human. We all human. Awesome. So talk a little bit. So you talked a little bit about it, but could you expand on how utilizing social media, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, how can that feed your creativity?
One, it challenges me, and it really does push me, because, man, the social media has changed, or is consistently changing. Like, Instagram literally just created like a option for you to sell directly in the Instagram portal. Like, that's crazy. Wow. Can you imagine? Like, it's crazy how we went from the early MySpace and the Flickr and so on and so forth to only having practically creating your own platform on any of these online social media platforms. And so it always challenges me to make sure that I'm remaining as creative as possible, because there's so much information that's being thrown at everybody on a consistent basis. They say, like, a post only lasts about or less than a minute on your feed.
Wow.
And then, you know, with like your algorithms and whatnot, what you put out there may not be seen for days on end or months on end. So social media really does challenge me and pushes me to make sure that the content that I produce remains relevant and in the faces of different people. One thing that I really, really try my very best to do, and this is for anybody who is looking to do an online platform or anybody who is looking to be able to engage people or other audiences, is like practicing omnipresence. So what I put on YouTube, I try my very best to share on Facebook, or I try my very best to share on Snapchat, Instagram, and so on and so forth.
I like that.
Because I understand that even though YouTube is a huge, huge platform, there's some people who may not have YouTube. So how can I go ahead and engage the person who's on Facebook? How can I engage that teenager that's on Instagram or Snapchat or whatever? So.
And just talking the power of Black creatives. So everybody that's listening and tuning into this live, as well as those who will listen to it later on Facebook or YouTube or whatever the case is learning, and you're able to share and feed off of, you know, Sierra's comments or her journey or my journey and my comments. And so that's the power of not just Black creatives, but partnerships. So guys, feel free to comment and ask questions as we move forward. And I think also another way for me personally that social media challenged me to be creative, like for example, the name of my show. So it's a hashtag on purpose for trending purposes. So literally people, once they put the name of the show, I'm able to see that it gives me feedback. I can connect with people who I may not be personal friends with because someone has shared the video and then they shared it. So it's just, social media literally funnels creativity. If you're not creative, you're not going to last in this, in this, it's just a beast. You're not going to last in this, you know? So.
Very true. Very true. It's very competitive because you're always competing for somebody else's attention.
It's the truth.
Oh my gosh, it gets stressful.
And so with that, let's talk about how competition can hurt partnerships. So I think sometimes with, like, for example, I could have reached out to you and you're like, nah, because you doing something similar to me and you're gonna take my audience. So talk about how that competition can be negative regarding creatives on an online platform.
Definitely. So I'm going to speak from like a place of like transparency and vulnerability. For me, I deal with like comparing myself a lot. And so if I feel like a platform is like oversaturated, or if I feel like somebody's doing the same thing as me, I'm like, oh my gosh, ooh, this really sucks or whatever. But then I had to like kind of step back and realize that just because somebody is doing the same thing within your lane, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're able to speak to the audience that is specifically assigned to you.
That's good.
I firmly believe that there's just so much out there, or so many people who are waiting to hear your specific voice. And I could provide a huge example. I remember when Taraji P. Henson dropped her or announced her foundation for suicidality, or when she was just like doing it in the name of her father. He was a veteran and he struggled with mental illness and whatnot. And I was calling my friends. I'm like, dang it, man, Taraji out here winning. She doing the same thing as me. Okay. You know, she trying to be out here, you know, because she not only caters to like Black youth in mental illness, but she also does like she helps to try to reduce recidivism within Black communities.
Yeah.
And that's a population that I really am interested in, like helping people transition from the jail system or from the prison pipeline system and getting reacclimated into normal society. Because, well, I don't want to get on my soapbox or whatever, but I really think it's stupid how our government and our country expects people to serve time as they should, and then get out into the real world and they can't get a job, they can't get any housing because they're a felon, you know, things like that. But we're not going to go there. So
it's the truth though. Yeah.
But when she announced her foundation, those were like those 3 pillars that she did. I was just like, damn it, man. Like, I'm like, dang. And then you start kind of second guessing yourself. Like, oh man, I wish I had the money. I wish I had the resources. Oh, dang it. Like it really hurt. And then when Charlamagne and God started talking about mental illness, I'm like, damn it, Charlamagne. Like, I appreciate you.
But why are you trying to be great?
Yeah. But why are you trying to, like, I'm trying to be great right now. All of y'all talking about mental illness and this is my platform. This is what I'm trying to do. And then the kicker was, girl, and then the kicker was Dr. Jess, girl, because I love Dr. Jess. Yeah. And I was like, oh, she's a psychiatrist. She's using Instagram to do basically what I do. But I recognized and I realized that they all have their own specific lane. And excuse me for anybody who isn't Christian, but I firmly believe in God. And I feel like God really does ordain certain tasks to certain individuals. And for anybody who does feel like a platform is too oversaturated or that too many people are doing the same thing, recognize that you have a unique skill. You have a unique way to deliver those skills. And you also have just something that is that makes you just totally separate from the rest, you know? So don't shy away from the calling that's on your life. Make sure you're moving forward in that, because you can literally save somebody's life by what you do and being your authentic self.
Yes. Yes. It's a whole preach. Y'all can go ahead and donate. What's your cash app so they can sow?
Girl!
No, it's so true. Y'all, for those who are live with us, can y'all do me a favor? Can y'all hashtag in the comments, hashtag my creativity matters? Let's do that. Let's do that for the culture. My creativity matters.
And so to go back to your question, when you reached out to me, like, look, that's one thing that I already do. For anybody who has seen my YouTube channel or doesn't know much about my channel, I do these things called, what's it called? Counselor chats, where I'm always reaching out to Black clinicians and collaborating with them, because like we said, representation matters. Yes. Not a lot of people know that we really are out here, and I live in Atlanta, so I mean, we really out here. We really out here. And I just really try my very, very best for these amazing clinicians to share their gifts and their talents and what they do, because therapy is such a wide range. There's so many niches. Like the video that you saw with Dr. Christopher Holloway, she specializes in women's issues. And the crazy thing is the video that we did came out probably like two weeks or around the same time that Michelle Obama talked about her issues with infertility. And it was just so timely, so timely. There's another therapist that I worked with, my clinical supervisor. She has experience with like borderline personality disorder, and she is also a owner of a private practice. There are clinicians out there or people who are looking to get into therapy who probably want to own their own private practice. And so it's best for you to be able to learn from these situations or learn from these people's stories for the free, by the way. All I ask is that y'all like, comment, subscribe, and share. That's all I ask. But it's best for you to learn through their experiences so that you don't have to make those same mistakes, or so that you can find the correct clinician that will meet your needs as well.
Absolutely. And I love that Tierra, who's an LCSW here in Florida, said Black clinicians. Black clinicians matter. Yes, they do. I love it. And, you know, just to piggyback, I love this, is because, so personally, my passion is fertility and like women's health and maternal mental health. And my clinical supervisor, who I have right now, is not a creative in any rate. It's agency. He's an agency clinician, which is cool. It's okay. That's his grace. And also, it's not African American. And I remember when I discussed in supervision one day my goals, my passion, and they were like, it was a group supervision, and everybody, I'm the only African American, I'm the youngest one in there, and everybody was just like flabbergasted, like, what? You can do fertility work as a clinician, or what? You can use social media, what? You can be creative. And I'm like, I felt so constricted. And that's actually the night that I Googled, I'm like, YouTube, and I'm like, there has to be someone out here that has spoken on this topic, and your video was the first video that popped up.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Crazy?
And so that's amazing. Imagine if you, oh my God, imagine if you did not have this platform. Imagine if you didn't do your video. I'm now a poor little Black Tashara in Fort Myers, Florida, would not have known that, you know, the clinician that was on, is it Dr. Holloway?
Yep, Dr. Holloway.
That was on, or, you know, that there's other clinicians that are interested in this work or that have done this work that I can learn from, because my direct supervisor doesn't have that. And so it's just important for us to be authentic. And yes, your platform reaches people that Taraji won't, that Charlamagne won't, you know, that Dr. Jess won't. And so I just want to encourage you from clinician to clinician to just keep the faith and keep moving.
Yes. Girl, that's a blessing for real, for real. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, any questions or comments? Very great topic. Thank you. Good. I'm glad that it's helpful. Let me move around a little bit. So let's do some education. So I don't want to assume that everyone on here kind of knows a lot about like psychology or mental health. So I'll do just an educating topic, and then I have a follow-up question for you.
Okay.
So the process of counseling has been accused of being Eurocentric. Historically, counseling theories and techniques were developed by white counselors and therapists of European American descent who worked exclusively with white clients. Scholars have noted that although many therapeutic techniques have been developed and empirically validated as being effective, guys, that just means it's evidence-based, limited research has been conducted with respect to the effectiveness of such interventions with people of color and clients who are not of European descent. And so the term clinician is interchangeable for therapist or counselor in our field. And personally, throughout my 4 years in the field, I've noticed that a lot of people, when they think of therapy, they think of like Freud. They think of the patient or client on the couch and the psychoanalyst over them doing like some type of weird stuff. And it's like the shrink, you know, that dynamic. And for a lot of Black and brown people, that presentation or that process, they're not really vibing with it. And so can you talk about how you utilizing creativity, whether it's, you know, in your workplace or through Legacy Speaks, has directly brought in people who look like you?
Yes. Okay, girls. So I love our people. I really do. But sometimes y'all be giving me hell.
One more time for the people in the back.
Because like you said, the Freudian theory and laying on the couch and laying on the sofa and whatnot, and then immediately the first thing they say is, I don't want you all up in my head. I don't need you to be messing with my thoughts, or just all of these negative stigmas that we have grown up with. Like, for example, having that family member who there's like, oh, you know, Auntie Kate, she crazy or whatever. But Auntie Kate, yeah, I get she crazy, but like, what's the underlying issue? Like, she probably may be a schizophrenic. She may be bipolar. She may be like severely depressed or trauma. Yes, trauma. Or I created my very first video actually was created to dispel myths among people of color. And then, you know, when it comes to depression, it's just like, oh, you lazy, or you need to go do this, or you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, or, oh, girl, the classic one, you're not praying hard enough.
Oh, okay. Because God
like, you're not like you're not praying hard enough, or you need to get back in the church and do this and that. And we're just so superficial to the point where we're so afraid to talk about those places of vulnerability. That's why we have issues like what's going on in the media with R. Kelly. That we like to sweep underneath the rug, you know, things that we would like to avoid as families or as a people. And it really does suck. So in terms of like the creativity that I use when I'm creating a relationship or starting the therapeutic process with an individual, I use that first session as an opportunity to get to know them better, get to know who they are, what their presenting problem is or their presenting issue is. And then most importantly, I try to take it from a egalitarian approach.
Okay.
I try to be as collaborative as possible. Because I know with us or a lot of minority communities, we expect to go to the professional and be like, hey, you're the professional, you're the one with the degree. You tell me what to do and I'll do it, and then all my problems will be solved. And that's not what therapy is about. I mean, there will be some instances where the clinician will take a more directive approach with like psychoeducation or bibliotherapy or providing resources or homework. Yes, y'all, you do get homework in therapy.
Yeah, you do.
So it's like, of course, you take a more of a directive approach in that instance, but a lot of clinicians operate from a person-centered approach or depending on whether or not you're in managed care, cognitive behavioral therapy, because, you know, with Medicaid and Medicare, you need to have things that are like specific when you're submitting those bills and whatnot.
Yep.
That's a whole different topic, guys. But I just try to be as creative as possible and include things that are very, very pertinent to their life. The basis of therapy is being an active listener. And if a client doesn't feel like you're connecting with them, they're, one, not going to come back, or two, just quit on therapy altogether.
Period.
And one thing that I found is we're the type of people where I tried it once, and if it don't work, then to hell with it forever. And it's just like, no,
yep.
That clinician may not have been right for you. Like, just keep trying and just keep going. So it's a lot of give and take on both sides, from the clinician perspective as well as from the client or the patient's perspective. And it goes back to that conversation that we had earlier of like recognizing that we're all human.
Mm-hmm.
And then as a clinician, you have to make sure that you're learning how to adjust accordingly. Because yes, I'm Adlerian at heart, meaning that I care about your social interests. I care about your birth order. I care about how you see yourself with respect to other people and your place in society and whatnot, and challenging all those irrational beliefs. But that may not work for a client that comes in my office. That may not work for a patient that I'm seeing immediately. So I try my very best to gain as much information as possible so I can know how to help you, not only in the moment, but for like the rest of our therapeutic process.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be self-aware if something doesn't work, and that's just like any other relationship. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that's where communication comes in. And from an ethical perspective, you know, we're held to that standard. Yeah. That if we're not meeting the needs of a patient or client, it's unethical for us to continue seeing. No, you giving us money, but we not helping you. So yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Definitely.
Perfect. How would you say creativity has impacted your own mental health, emotional health, physical health, spiritual health? How has being a creative and using all of the platforms that you use, and Legacy Speaks as a brand, how has that impacted your overall well-being?
Yeah, I like to call myself a part-time hippie because I can be like super professional, and then depending on how well I know you, the Florida in me comes out, like for real.
Coming to club, shaking my dreads.
But like I need that creative outlet to be my authentic self, to be able to show my client and everybody else that it is okay to be yourself and to operate in your gifts unapologetically.
Yeah.
So like I just couldn't imagine living life without any aspects of creativity. I love yoga. I love editing videos and editing photos. I love dancing. That's my first love, dancing. So just trying my very best to pour myself into different avenues. That way it's a form of self-care, one, and two, it's just an opportunity for me to kind of grow and self-reflect as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So y'all, listen, creativity is healing in a lot of aspects. And Cataline, hey, welcome. She's actually a yoga instructor. And so Cataline is based out of Fort Myers, Florida as well. Her brand is called something, oh God, I can't believe I'm Future something. There it is. Bam, it's old age.
Cataline, type it in the comments.
Swag, there we go. Future something. And so type your information in so that people can connect with you and potentially invest into your brand as a yoga instructor, because it's important. You know, I was at a training yesterday for a trauma training, and the instructor said that all of our problems stem from our mind. And she was talking about utilizing yoga. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist, and utilizing yoga as well as therapy, traditional psychotherapy. And she mentioned, you know, how yoga, you have to, is, you know, relaxation. So she's like, if you just get your mind right, you're all right. And I was like, that's a very simplistic way of just, you know, trying to just let everybody be great. Yes, get your mind right.
Yeah. Yeah. And what people don't realize, there is a huge sector dedicated to that within therapy. There art therapy. People literally go to school, or they also get certified within that specific niche.
Yeah.
Play therapy,
Music?
I don't know about working with kids, y'all. God is still working on me with that. But I just went to a training about play therapy and how a lot of therapists use like figurines and stuff like that, where a child may be talking about their trauma, but distancing themselves from the trauma. So they'll create a scene within the sand tray, or they'll use Play-Doh. Like I remember the clinician, what did she say? The clinician who let it, she gave a girl Play-Doh, and the girl was just a beast with creating like little Krabby Patties or little hamburgers and whatnot. And every time she would have a session with that particular therapist, all she would make are these hamburgers. And so at first it was just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. This detail, you did a little sesame seeds, you did like the lettuce with amazing and great detail. But then when she finally opened up about it, she said the reason why she created these hamburgers was because her mom's favorite meal was McDonald's, and her mom was also in an abusive relationship. So you're in a home where there's physical violence, domestic violence, and you see that the only time your mom is happy is when she's eating a hamburger. So what do I do as a child? I'm gonna create this hamburger so that my mom can be happy. And like that's crazy, right?
Yeah,
that's crazy. All through using Play-Doh.
Through using play. Yep. Yeah, play therapy is a whole. We do that in the office that I work with. We do play therapy, but it is sand tray. It's its own niche, and it's amazing what you can express. Especially it's evidence based for trauma. Children who experience trauma. So yeah, it's there's so much creativity even in, and so that's why it bothers me, almost frustrates me when people, even clinicians, have this just still Eurocentric, old Freudian way of thinking about psychology, because play therapy, art therapy, music therapy, all of these things that are evidence-based for certain populations and things like that, is all creativity, utilizing yoga, all of these things, and it works. And so you guys don't let no one tell you that therapy is boring or mental health is lame or any of that stuff. Like this, even this platform is positive for your mental wellness. So yeah. So question for everybody out there, and as well as you, Sierra, for you particularly, if you didn't have Legacy Speaks as an outlet, what would the world be missing? And for our viewers, you can just insert whatever your creator, whatever God has called you to do, whatever business you have, as a yoga instructor, or, as a professional speaker, or as an engineer, whatever your thing is. If you didn't have that outlet, what would the world be missing?
Another avenue for representation. Like we said, the total mission was to make sure that people were connected to the right resources, and that people were connected to pertinent information in a relatable way. That's why I always emphasize mental wellness for the culture.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be as mainstream as possible. I want to create those healthy conversations surrounding mental wellness, because oftentimes we always refer to mental illness as somebody walking into a school shooting it up. We're always looking at mental illness as the person who drowned their kids after dealing with postpartum or PTSD and stuff like that. So just being okay with talking about those difficult things and making sure that we're able to carry on those conversations and relate to one another on a more humanistic level, like saying, you went through that, but I know that you can overcome it because I overcame it too. Creating a sense of community as well.
Yeah, it's true. All right, we have a question. So Shauna says, so what if somebody recognizes that they need therapy, but they are discouraged because of financial reason? What resources are out there for them?
I love this question because a lot of people think therapy is expensive, which sometimes it is. It depends. One, if you have insurance, definitely tap into your insurance to see how much they're going to cover. Also, too, if you work at a major organization, a lot of times you will have an employee assistance program where you'll get maybe about 6 to 8 sessions a year to be able to help you manage with whatever you're dealing with. I don't know if you're going to probably need all 6 sessions. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but at least it'll get you in the right direction. Now, in terms of resources, it depends on the state. I know I can only speak from the state of Georgia, and Shar, you could speak on the state of Florida, but here in Georgia, we have this thing called the Department of Behavioral Health and Disabilities, and they fund the Georgia Crisis Access Line, which in turn lets individuals know about resources that are in the state of Georgia. Not only private facilities, but also state facilities, as well as like for facilities that are like more like low socioeconomic status and whatnot. So for example, for anybody who is suicidal or homicidal and you're in acute distress, I definitely encourage you to go to the emergency room to get a mental health assessment. And then the ER will call their local assessor or whichever facility that they're contracted with to assess you in that moment. And then if you don't have insurance, it's okay. You will be able to possibly be approved for a state contract bed and then get the treatment that you need. Now, mind you, that's for inpatient. And for inpatient and outpatient, there's two different things. You'll go to a facility. I know in the state of Florida, it's like Baker Acted or whatever. Yep. And it appears to 1013. In the state of every state has their own different thing. And so, like I said, if you're in acute distress, then go ahead and do that. Then after you are matriculated through your inpatient process, from there they will connect you to a therapist or community-based resources as well. There's so many things out there. People literally get paid to drive to your house to do a session in your home. There's also resources for your child to get therapy in the school, within collaboration with your school counselor. You just have to know who to talk to or who to speak to in order to gain access to those opportunities and those resources.
Yeah, just to piggyback on you on what you said, state of Florida is kind of similar in regards to the process. So Shauna followed up with that EAP. They do provide sessions, but they're not personally chosen therapists, which is true. True. That's a part of it. So what I would add to it is that, to me, understanding that if you want a personally chosen therapist that may target your specific needs, it may be out of pocket. A lot of clinicians now are not taking insurance because certain insurances won't pay for, let's say if I'm a clinician and I'm seeing Tom, and I believe Tom needs 8 sessions of, I don't know, let's just say CBT for the culture. Needs CBT, and their insurance A says, oh, I'm only going to pay for 2. Ethically speaking, if I only do 2 and I know that you need 5 or 6, what does that, where does that put me as in regards to my ethical standards? And so a lot of clinicians are not taking, at least in Florida, I know a lot of clinicians are not taking insurance, but they do sliding scale fees. So knowing that, I think what I would do and what I do personally, I listen to a lot of podcasts. There's content, like Sierra said, not saying that this replaces therapy, but if you're not in direct crisis or you're not severe where you need a lot of therapy, but your mental health is still important to you, I'd listen to Therapy for Black Girls. I'd tune into Sierra's YouTube channel. I'd listen to Ask Tashara Thursday's season episodes that directly relate to mental health and things that you may relate to. That's what I would do for a psychoeducational perspective. I'd get the education and then do the self-work at home. I'd learn the skills. So if we're talking about, traumas or how to be more self-aware of triggers, I'd take that information and then go home and do the homework like I'm in session. That's how I would do it until you're able to afford maybe that clinician that you mesh well with, or maybe you did one session and can't go back because of financial barriers. That's how I would also work it out, because there is free content out there on all of the social media platforms. So I would utilize that. And then if needed, if I'm in direct crisis, there's always the National Suicide Hotline. You can go to an emergency room if you feel like you're at direct threat to yourself or someone else and things like that for more severe cases.
Right. And then also, too, if you're looking to choose a specific therapist, communicate with them. Let them know where you are financially There are some clinicians who do pro bono work, or they'll allow their fees to be decreased to a certain degree. It may not be the full hour, but they can be able to provide you what you need within 30 or 45 minutes. It all depends. So just try those different options. It, like Tashara was saying, it all depends on the level of severity that you're in. Are you in acute crisis? Are you looking for somebody to help you through a therapeutic process? Do you think that you can manage what you're dealing with through social support groups or other affiliate groups, or getting a, what is it called, a peer support specialist? If you're a veteran, tap into the VA. There's so many different ways for you to get what you need from a mental health standpoint. And also too, for anybody who is looking to acquire a therapist, but they're like, dang, do I really want to invest in it? Look at it as going to see a certain specialist. It's a difference between seeing your primary care physician and going to see somebody who is a gastroenterologist or OBGYN. Absolutely. Obviously, you're going to pay a lot more money because they're a specialist. They're catering to a specific need. So if you just have to kind of reframe it a little bit. Because, I mean, we could spend a lot of money on bundles. We could spend money on Taco Bell or all that other stuff. But when it comes to our mental health, we don't really try to invest in that. So.
Yeah, I agree. So we know that there's barriers, especially for Black and brown people. We understand that. But if you want something to be done, you're going to get it done. That's our people. That's the nature of our people as minorities. We're going to get it done. So there are ways that you can get around the barrier of money, but that is a big barrier. We're not going to front, but it's not the stereotype or the illusion that therapy is too expensive for me is not. It's literally an illusion. There's resources out there for you guys. Yeah. So I have two last questions before opening it back up to the floor, and then we'll end. So can you encourage an inspiring creative? So what words of encouragement would you give to someone who has a vision, desires to execute it, but suffers from gut-wrenching anxiety relating to the actual execution of launching their brand?
Oh, child, just do it. You know, I mean, plan it out accordingly. Obviously, I know. I know with Legacy Speaks, I started in 2017, but I started planning. Yeah, I started planning January of 2017, and I waited to launch it on my birthday, so August 27th. And I had those 8 months to just figure it out. I watched so many other different YouTube influencers like Shameless Maya, trying to figure out what camera was best for me. I asked so many different friends what their take was on it or whatever. But whether it's videos, whether it's social media, whether it's painting, whether it's community advocacy, whatever your calling is, I just say, just do it, because the more you sit on it, the less likely the person who's called to you is going to get what they need. So
that's good.
Like, you got to look at it that way. Like, you are withholding the key to unlocking somebody else's mental bondage or spiritual bondage. And when you realize that, it'll make you want to walk in purpose more intentionally. We're all placed on this earth for a specific thing or a specific task. And with you sitting on it, that means that the world will be less great, you know? So.
Yeah, that's true. The late Dr. Miles Monroe, who was a famous pastor and teacher, he has this quote basically that he says, and he talks about the grave is the richest place on the earth, because there's dreams and visions and ideas that no one knew, and now they're in the grave. So, die empty, don't die on full.
And then also too, I remember Devon Franklin, he said something that was just so profound to me. He was just like, when he gets to heaven, he knows he's going to have to be held responsible for all the things that he did not do, you know, because we always get those kind of inklings, do this, do that, but we're like, no, we're not ready, or no, I don't have the financial resources. But it's just when you get to heaven and God is just showing you a reel of what you could have been. I want to be as close to what I should be.
Oh yeah.
I want to be as close. I don't want to, like you said, die full. Like I want to die as empty as possible. I want to be able to say, I want him to be able to say, well done, you know. And so for whoever is out there sitting on something, make sure that you're walking in this place of like, damn, am I doing what I'm called to do? So
period. And lastly, if you can speak specifically to those clinicians that are creative in doing things that you're doing, what words of encouragement could you give to your fellow minority colleagues who are challenging the Western view of psychology and mental health? Like, give them some words of encouragement.
Oh my gosh, be your authentic self. There's always going to be a client that's out there who who you're going to speak your language. There's always going to be a client out there who needs your authenticity, and your transparency and the way that you operate. Whatever setting you're in, and it may be restrictive, or it may not create opportunity for you to like stretch and grow and utilize all of your creativity. Try your very best to make sure that you are implementing or slowly implementing those things that make you key and unique. Because like I said, when a potential client or a potential patient comes to you, for that first time, that first session means a lot. The second one means a lot as well. If they're still coming and coming and coming, then obviously there's something about you that really speaks to what they're dealing with in that moment. So don't grow weary in well doing.
Honey, yeah, because it could be real weary-ish, but
yeah, yes,
that's
it's
good.
Stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. This was dope.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yes. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. I appreciate you guys for your amazing questions and whatnot. Thank you.
For sure. Lastly, any parting words that you want to give everyone? Shoot them your YouTube channel again, websites, all that stuff, and I'll also put it in the comment section.
Yes, definitely. So, hey guys, once again, my name is Sierra. You can follow me on Legacy SBKS on everything. That's Instagram. I believe my Facebook is strictly Legacy Speaks. I'm on my YouTube, Legacy Speaks as well. Yeah, and I guess parting words. Yes, haha, Legacy SBKS. Appreciate you. But I guess parting words is, make sure that you're investing in your mental health just as much as you are investing in your physical health. It is so important. You cannot have one without the other. Invest in your total holistic wellness experience. I know sometimes we're out here as millennials or whatever generation that you're in, we're always trying to secure this bag, we're always trying to get to this money. But what would it be like if you got all this money and you're not able to like mentally handle all of that stuff, or mentally handle the next place that you're in? So please, 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 please make sure that you are investing in your mental health like you're investing in everything else.
Absolutely. That's it. Well, thank you again.
No problem.
Yeah, this was great. My dog said exactly. Exactly.
Hey.
We out here. Thanks again. We will stay in contact, and whatever I can do to help move you forward, and just stay connected, because we need each other out here.
Yes. Love it.
Yes. Perfect. Thanks again, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Layers. All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning in to Ask Tashara Thursdays. My name is Tashara. I am the CEO of Khadijah's Creations and the host of Ask Tashara Thursdays, which is a service line under Khadijah's Creations. So before we go, I'm going to play my song again. This topic is very important to me, not just partnerships. Like my song says, together we can all touch nations, but regarding creativity, I really believe creativity is the vehicle to move us individually and us as a culture forward. And so I created this song with some friends. And the other thing I love about creativity and ownership is that, y'all know Facebook, you can't play other people's music if you don't own the rights. They'll shut your video down, or you will not be able to listen to it, or whatever the case is. And so I have rights to my own song, so I can play it as much as I want, as often as I want, and I don't have to worry about it. And so that just goes to show you that creativity is important and ownership is important. So just gonna play it again, and you guys have a good night. Hey, it's time to have a conversation, be open, be honest. Let's go talk on education, talk on how to be modest. Let's talk on politics, yeah, it's Shara on the mic. No matter what you need, don't worry, I'ma get it fixed. I'm here to spread truth, I'm here to spread light. We could talk about it all night until we get it right. Hey, motivation and inspiration of rotation. If we work together, we can all touch nations. Let's build an empire. Kings and queens, I want to help you dream. It's always been my dream. Let's grow together, let's learn together. It's hot topics all day like burning leather. On Ask Shara, just ask Shara. Any topic, it don't matter, just ask Shara. Ask Shara on Thursday. It's Facebook Live on Thursdays. Y'all have a good one.